We recently added this shaper to the shop, and we like all our tools to be mobile. So before we put it into service, we added these casters, and that shaper there doesn't have casters on it yet. So I've got some here on the table, and this is what they look like. This little thumb wheel raises and lowers that foot. So when it's in position, the foot extends past the wheel, and so it's rubber. It's got some vibration resistance, and then when you want to move it, you just raise that up, and it moves it. Heavy built, plenty of weight rating for those two shapers, and that's quite an improvement from just dragging it around like we've been doing. So I'm excited to get it on that shaper, and it'll make it a lot easier to move. In preparation for an eventual break room, which will be here beside the office, we moved the lathe here. It used to sit right over here in the corner, and we put the refrigerator there, around a water line for the ice maker. That way we're planning for future there, have the lathe here. Good spot for it. We can still get to our ladder to get to the top of the office, and it saves us a lot of room there. We also had to recently replace our edge bander. We ended up with this used machine. It's a single phase, so we can move it around the shop easier. We had it, the old one, right next to the bandsaw there. So we've moved it over here again in preparation for a break room going there. And in doing so, we had to break down this miter saw setup that we had here. So we took two of the cabinets and put them here in between these under our miter saw. We also, on the miter saw, or the upcut saw, our tiger stop went out, so we replaced it with this Saw Gear Touch, which is working great. It's pretty intuitive, really accurate. So that's been wonderful so far. The other cabinets that we took out of this area and put back here with our scissor lift. So we've done a lot of improvements back here on our scissor lift, but now we've got the rest of the cabinets back here that were over there. The miter saw we just put into the boneyard until we need it. On the scissor lift, we've added drawers with our standard hardware. We've also labeled this as green for our green table, since the lift itself is green. Magnet here holding several accessories, more tools over here. This will be Kaizened in pretty soon. We're making sure we have everything we need in here for it. Added the tools here for it. On this, now this is our drawer front jig here. So we've attached it to our table, and we put it on a piano hinge. So when we need to use it, we fold it down, we put our drawer front in there, nail our drawer to it. When we don't need it, we can flip it up out of the way, and we have access to that. We added some fire extinguishers to the shop. So we have one here, and we put one in the middle of the shop on the end of that table so that they're more readily accessible. We modified our elevator so that now when it is locked into position on the French cleat, it is almost flush here. We did have about a 3-inch gap or lip to drag things over. We also added electrical up here for that, so that now it's ready to go at all times. And we have our thing here, so we can just raise and lower that. And you see it locks right into position there to keep it from sagging when we use it. We've also been organizing, this is what we call our boneyard. You can see it's a disaster. We've, with the lift, been able to put some of our unused router tables up here, some fans, some different things. And so it's going to be more organized. We started with this shelf unit here, and over the years we've made a bunch of drawers the wrong size, and so we've taken some of those drawers, added these vertical braces in, and we're able on this shelf to double our capacity. We're trying to get all of our electrical. So on this one, we've got some random wires. Over here, we've got connectors and outlets, things like that, more connectors. And on the end, took some 2x4s, drilled some holes in them with some conduit, and made a wire rack We're gonna put this unit over here against this wall and get this cleaned up, so when we come off of our lift, which is here, we'll have a straight shot with nothing in the way. Also, while we're up here, you can see we have added one of these Bora lumber racks for long storage. We got it for the conduit, and then when the Tiger stop went out, it's actually the controller, so it's about a $3,500 repair, and we're just waiting on that for the time being. But we were able to put it up here. We were also able to put our glide stop up here that we took off of the miter saw station when we broke it down. So now we've got somewhere to store them, keeps them flat, keeps them up out of the way, and it's really useful up here. We replaced our homemade 4-sided drying rack with a commercially available 2-sided version, and that does two things. It gives us more room here in the drying room because it takes up less space, and we're actually going to get a second one of those, and that will be our batch size at maximum. So when those are drying, we can be painting another one, and then we can just roll this whole rack out with these cabinets as they dry to our final assembly, which is right there, and we'll have them where we need them. We also were able to break so this is the top half of our homemade drying rack. We cut it down and are using it now for our paint sprayer. We've got our turntable on there. It's on casters so that it's easy to move around. We were just using sawhorses in here. This is much easier to use to clean in the mornings. It's a great setup for us. So that was a way that we were able to take advantage of something that we took out of service and still use it. We're still trying to get the whole shop insulated, so you can see that we've got a small gap right there that needs to be done, but we've gone above the door and around and above that door. Above that door, we also added a header so that we could close it off better with the airflow. And we've continued it down here, and now we're halfway above that door. So we're getting a lot closer to having the whole shop insulated. Here at the Ripsaw, we've got this piece that tells us what our thickness is set at, and it was getting blown off and lost, and so one of the guys took a clipboard clip, put that on there to hold it in place, so now that's less likely to get blown off. We also noticed over here next to our floor sweep, we didn't have a broom, so we added a zip tie and a hook there, and now we're able to leave a broom here near the floor sweep. We added our first big ceiling fan. That's a 9 feet version, and it's helping move a lot of air. We don't have enough tonnage from our split units, which are here. So there's times when we start that fan and it does a great job of cycling the whole room together, but then it pulls the hot air off the ceiling. So now we're considering adding tonnage with some more units to help cool it off in here, because it gets pretty warm by the end of the day. Our morning meeting format, we have a tendency to go long on our 20-minute goals. So one of my office people set up this PowerPoint for us, and it's on a timer. Y'all may know more about this than I do, but once we hit play, it automatically scrolls for each one. We also added this timer that at the moment we have to touch our mouse to get it to start the time. So we're going to look into that, but it's got our slides. We've added a link option here. So during our 3S time, whoever's leading the meeting gets the opportunity to come into the office, prepare for their meeting, because we rotate it every day. And if they want to put a link in here to one of y'all's videos on waste or YouTube link or whatever, it's there. And it goes through them. We talk about our improvements every day. We teach something, preferably not work related. Just everybody gets the opportunity to give us something. You can see the last one was an RV setup and breakdown for newbies. So one of the guys is going camping, and he shared that with us on how to do that. We talk about quality issues every day and try to keep the rope tight on those, why they happened, how we can prevent them in the future. We'll go over our calendar so everybody's on the same page about what we're working on, and then we let who is responsible tomorrow know that they're responsible, and then we grade it and we stretch. This is something we've added recently to our meeting to help keep us limber and ready to go. So this has been helping. We're still going long because we like to talk, but it's helping, and it gives everybody the opportunity to improve upon it.